Hi, it's Lucy Carlson here. It's always a good time for horror movies in 4K, and Arrow Video delivers once again. The Hellraiser series is certainly one of horror's most legendary, and we're going back to the first four films today with this release from Arrow Video. This is Hellraiser Quartet of Torment. I'm going to unbox this release and share my opinions. Great close-up there of Pinhead in all his pinheaded glory. Top of the box is just blank. Side of the spine, the inner contents, bottom of the backing card. Underneath the backing card, yeah, that's just plain there. And on the back, you got images of chains, which of course play a major role whenever Pinhead is doing his thing. But what do we get inside this box? If you notice, there's actually some holes in the front box, just so it's like the color of the image from the inserts, creates different detail, I guess, depending on what you put in there. Right now, I think I've just got the included booklet in there. So let's see what's inside. One thing I will say, the booklet's pretty firm and sturdy. It's kind of hard to get out of here. So right here, we got the cover of the book. Yeah, Ages of Desire, it calls the book. You got some pretty cool essays and photos. Arrow Video always does a great job on these hardbound books that come with their releases. Now, some of the stuff in here is pretty violent and gory, so I'm not going to show most of it on my channel. I don't want to get flagged or anything. And I actually have been flagged for reviewing horror movies before and showing some of the more violent elements, so that concern is not exactly unfounded. A lot of great behind-the-scenes content and photographs here. This is Arrow Video doing what they do best. Hats off to them once again. And if I didn't mention this earlier, a thing I really like about this box, it's actually very hard and sturdy. It's not just some flimsy, paper-thin box. Arrow always goes to the nines on these releases, and once again, they do that. And here's the case that actually contains the movies. And this is interesting. You've actually got one of the forming here, and you pull this off, and it's got, what's underneath. Like before he starts recording. Right there, you got the I am in hell, help me, and you got the box. We have such sights to show you. Then you fold this open. We have our 4 discs inside. This set contains 4 movies. Hellraiser, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, and Hellraiser Bloodline. These movies were all released between 1987 and 1996. We have such sights to show you. In the 1980s, Clive Barker changed the face of horror fiction, throwing out the rules to expose new vistas of terror and beauty, expanding the horizons for every genre writer who followed him. With Hellraiser, his first feature film, he did the same for cinema. Hedonist Frank Cotton thinks he's reached the limits of earthly pleasure, but a mysterious puzzle box will take him further than he can possibly imagine, opening the doors to a dominion where pain and pleasure are indivisible and summoning the Cenobites, whose experiments in the higher reaches of experience will tear his soul apart. When he manages to escape, Frank returns to the world skinless and in need of help. Now his former lover must kill to make him whole again, but the Cenobites want Frank back, and they'll be held to pay when they find him. Hellbound, Hellraiser 2 expands on Barker's original vision as screenwriter Peter Atkins takes Julia Cotton, her stepdaughter Kirsty, and the sinister Dr. Channard into the dominion of the Cenobites themselves. Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth sees Pinhead set loose on the sinful streets of New York City to create chaos with a fresh cadre of Cenobitic kin. Then Hellraiser Bloodline sinks its hooks into the past, present, and future with the story of Philip LeMarchand, the 18th century toymaker who made the Lament configuration puzzle box, and his descendant, John Merchant, a 20th century architect whose most recent building bears a striking resemblance to the Lament configuration, and Dr. Paul Merchant, a 22nd century engineer and designer of the Minos, a space station which is a great deal more than it seems. Experience the sublime agony of this quartet of torment like you never have before in all new 4K restorations from the original camera negatives. Hell has never looked better. Now, prior to picking up this set, the only Hellraiser movie I'd ever seen was the original one, so 2, 3, and 4 were certainly new to me, and I have to say, watching this set was certainly an interesting experience. Not every movie in this series is a masterpiece by any means, but that doesn't mean I didn't have a lot of fun watching these. Of course, the original film from 1987 is probably the best, where Clive Barker introduces us to, the Cenobites, Pinhead, and these worlds of torment that they unleash on those who try to unlock the box, solve the puzzles, and search for higher realms of pleasure. Of course, everything goes horribly wrong in every film, and it's not long before, in every sense of the words, all hell breaks loose. I do think the sequel, Hellbound Hellraiser 2, was maybe a little too incoherent and had too much going on, although the journey into the labyrinth and some of the more violent scenes and the adventure are appealing despite the film's narrative structure being a bit weak. My favorite of these three is probably Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, in which Pinhead comes back to the realm of the living, this time trying to revive himself by absorbing more living souls. And meanwhile, a young TV reporter is having dreams about the man who would later become Pinhead, and she has to team up with his past self to bring him back into the realm so that he can no longer torment anyone. Hellraiser Bloodline is a different animal altogether, actually being set in the future in outer space, with the descendant of an old toy maker looking to try to capture Pinhead and prevent him from wreaking any more havoc. We get flashbacks back to France several hundred years ago, and of course present-day Earth, or at least present-day Earth for 1996. Yeah, the movies are a bit hit and miss. The fourth one in particular was pretty heavily recut behind the scenes, and it even has the infamous directed by Alan Smithy credit. If you don't know what that means, look it up when you're done watching this video. I'm not going to get into that here. But again, I love violent horror movies. I love flashbacks to the past. And the Hellraiser Quartet of Torment set certainly gave me all that I wanted and then some. Again, this set does not include Blu-ray copies of the film. The norm for Arrow is they generally only include 4K discs, or they sold separately Blu-ray discs of their films. All of the films look absolutely gorgeous in this transfer. They have all the natural film grade intact. There's a ton of detail. The Dolby Vision really brings out the vibrant colors and the deeper, darker black levels. It's just an all-around great-looking package. Obviously, there are going to be some effect shots that don't exactly age the best, but those are few and far between, and for the most part, the movies look absolutely incredible. I couldn't be happier with how these transfers look. Each movie has several bonus features ranging from fairly newly filmed interviews to vintage EBK type material and featurettes, and even things like trailers, TV spots, art galleries. There's a ton of stuff here, and Arrow certainly, once again, has gone to the nines to give the royal treatment to one of horror's classic franchises. If you're a horror fan, if you're a Pinhead fan, if you're a Hellraiser fan, whoever you are, absolute highest recommendations for this set. Arrow does it again. How about you? Are you a fan of the Hellraiser film series? What's your favorite film in the series? Do you think Pinhead is one of the most iconic of all horror villains? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content. I'm always posting new videos, and make sure to listen to like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. I'll see you next time.